Welcome to Football Documenta, a programme about why we choose to support the club or national team that we do. My name is Stan Leeson and I scout for football teams all over Europe, and I was always fascinated by this issue. Athletic Club of Bilbao are the last top-flight side in Europe to select only local Basque players, which is known as the Cantera policy. Every year at Christmas time, the proud people of the Basque country, a civilization that predates even the Romans, comes together to celebrate their identity. When the national football team, the Euskal Selekzioa, play an exhibition match. This year they were playing against Peru, so we decided to fly to Bilbao and ask the question, what makes you Basque? Our first port of call was the new San Mames stadium, to meet Gorka Villar, a founder of an Athletic Bilbao supporters group. Okay, so Gorka, tell us about where you're from, how you got involved with Athletic, and tell us about Mr. Pendant Club and the story behind that.
Well, I'm originally from Bilbao, born and bred, but for different reasons, 20 years ago I went to live in England, studied there, and I've been working there ever since. Probably about 4 or 5 years ago, a group of friends living in London, originally from the Basque Country, got together and founded this supporters club, which we named Mr. Penland after one of the best managers that Athletic Bilbao has ever had.
Why don't you tell us exactly where we are and about how this street, particularly behind us, connects the city to the stadium?
Yes, well, we're sitting right next to the new San Mames stadium, so-called the Cathedral of Spanish football. Right behind you there's Licenciado Poza, which is one of the traditional streets with lots of bars and restaurants where people would traditionally have a drink or two before the games, or indeed after the games, and sort of it's almost a sort of pilgrimage along that street towards the cathedral.
The thing that I found most interesting about Athletic and the Cantera is that you produce the Munyains, there's always a playmaker, Extremadura, a Suzieta, who can do the small passing and the very technical play, but also maybe the big central defender who is strong and physical in maybe the old English tradition. So maybe Athletic can play tiki-taka, but also they can play direct if they need to.
The traditional way in which Athletic has traditionally played was more like the English style of football, very quick, very fast, opening to the wings with a big centre forward, two very strong central defenders, which to a large extent has been somewhat not very popular in Spain, because in Spain traditionally they prefer the sort of more tactical game or technical game.
We saw a poll done by Athletic fans, and they asked, would you like to keep, if you kept the Cantera policy but you were relegated, is that better than changing the policy, maybe signing 1 or 2 players who are not Basque and winning the Copa del Rey or winning the league?
It's nice to be different as well, and to have a sort of a different philosophy, something that distinguishes us from some of the big sort of capitalist run teams, privately owned teams in that are so successful these days. The problem that maybe the club is facing at this stage is that obviously it's got to potentially find a way of attracting the best Basque players. I mean, this evening you're going to see the Basque team, but if Athletic is going to try and compete with that philosophy, with teams that are really playing with different philosophies and with different rules, it's got to find a way of attracting the best Basque players. I mean, people like Xabi Alonso, who's been played for Liverpool, now for Real Madrid, and people like Mikel Arteta, who's currently playing for Arsenal, Piliqueta playing for Chelsea, Javi Martinez, Bayern Munich, Llorente, now in Juventus. I mean, if the club could find a way of attracting at least most of those players, what a team they would be able to put together.
Is Mr. Penland, is he an honorary Basque, or is he just a piece of Athletic's history?
I would rather describe him as the latter. I mean, being Basque is not something that you can become. I mean, unless you really want to, of course. Being Basque is about where you're born and about your culture and about your nationality or your regional identity. This is an interesting issue. And in the case of Athletic, it becomes even more complex because, as I say, it's a club playing with a national team philosophy. And how do you marry those two things is always going to be a constant compromise and a constant fight to strike a very delicate balance.
After talking with Gorka, we had a sense of the tradition and the feeling of Athletic Club. It was particularly interesting to learn of athletics links with English football, from its introduction here by English engineers in the 1890s to the red and white kit being bought from Southampton FC. Next, we headed to Cascaviejo, literally translated as the Old Town, in the historic heart of Bilbao, where people gathered on the Saturday morning of the match. Along the crowded, narrow Callejas, we found people congregated in the typically Basque pastime of choral singing. Is it Christmas songs or?
No, not at all. It's a
Traditional?
Yeah, but not Christmas song. It talks about if I would have a cat, how do you say
A bird or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
If I would have cat,
The wings, yeah.
It would have been mine, but I didn't.
Oh wow. Okay, it sounds very sad, very melancholy. Beautiful, very beautiful. A very traditional song, the lady said. But yeah, very kind of sad idea. I don't know, maybe I'm over egging the pudding here, but it's related to their kind of the nationalism here where they have a country but it's not quite theirs. Around 2 o'clock Spanish time, we found younger Basques just as proud of their heritage, but displayed in a slightly more vigorous way. Kickoff was scheduled for 9 p.m, and it's not just us Brits who like to start drinking early before the match. People on the street, either because of their pride or perhaps because of too much calamucho, were all more than happy to talk to us about the festivities taking place. Thousands were gathered to protest for Basque independence and to celebrate the European court ruling on the early release of ETA prisoners. The white flags we saw everywhere were specifically referencing their return home. The national team, later that night, were also campaigning for official recognition by the Spanish Federation. We are making a documentary about the Basque national team, Okay, so, hello? Oh, thank you. Customs, yeah, customs.
Is the drink to calimocho.
Calimocho, which is what, red wine and Coke. In Bilbao, in San Sebastian, when Spain win, is it a big celebration or smaller?
No. Very small. No celebrations.
Okay, no celebration. If the Euskal plays Spain, so only the Basque players versus only the Spanish players?
If Basque country plays to Spanish people, we
fight. Okay, yeah, but everybody is calm, it's nice, you know, there is no, and everybody's sociedad, Bilbao's old friends.
There are a lot of people, Real Sociedad, Athletic, Alaves. It's not like Arsenal, Chelsea.
Yeah, they fight, yeah, it's peaceful, yeah.
Yes, peace.
It's getting a little bit smoky, a little bit incendiary, you can feel the atmosphere change. This has got a bit darker as well, I think. Hello.
Estos, inglés. Este habla inglés.
He does.
Baja un poco la cámara.
Euskal hooligans.
That's just the hooligans?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Should I not buy this then?
Okay.
In England, there would be loads of police everywhere, and here there is no police.
Only Basque country groups are united for the selection.
And you're all friends, yeah. Okay.
The national identity.
Yeah.
Spanish is not the national identity.
And in Spain, in the rest of the news, in the newspaper, in the TV, they will report this or they pretend nothing.
They will cut because it's against the Spanish. The Basque country, like another nation, it's not a nation. Like we are asking for that, but they don't give us.
This is a big party for the
for whole Basque country.
So it doesn't matter whether you win today.
No, it doesn't matter very much. You know, it's just a going party, you know, and just kind of like asking for freedom.
Right.
I mean,
it's never violent. It's never,
no. I don't think so.
Everybody's together, and everybody's calm. One of the people said to me, like Scotland. Scotland wants it's independent. There's no violence. You have a vote, and you see what happens. You know, do you feel more like that?
Yeah, I think so. The Spanish things are like they don't care about a bunch of like the people going for and asking for freedom. They think that we are like terrorists and stuff like that.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you, sir.
Let's get a here.
Bask, es que ricasco, no gracias.
Oh, what did you say? Ericasco?
Es que ricasco.
Esquericasco.
Yeah.
There you go.
Esquericasco.
That's Basque.
Basque, okay.
Yes.
After our impromptu lesson in Euskera, the Basque word for the language, we saw the protests start to die down. Crowds got on the metro and headed north to Pozas. I always like to take public transport on scouting trips to engage with the fans, to hear about current affairs at the club and find out their favourite players, unlike some of the older English scouts who arrive late and leave early in a car. The atmosphere was building in the bars outside the stadium, where we met Gorka, who we'd interviewed earlier and was joining us for the game. We checked out some of the Basque Country merch and took our seats in the press box. Okay, so here we are at the new San Mames, the new cathedral. You can still see the building work going on here. We've got 3 stands. It's Peru versus the Basque national team. We've just had a nice presentation with the banner down here which says we want to become official, and the crowd went crazy for that. What was your favourite game you attended at the old San Mames?
Well, I still remember the year in 1984 when we won the last league.
Yeah.
And we beat Real Madrid 2-1 at the old stadium.
Oh, good cross from Iriola. Oh, Iriola's having a good game, you know.
Whoever doesn't jump is Spanish.
Did you hear that, Jay? They're singing "Whoever doesn't jump is Spanish."
You know that one of the main characteristics of the old stadium was the arch.
Yeah.
And Norman Foster came to Bilbao to build the underground.
Yeah, we saw the entrances, yeah. What do they call them, Fosteritos or something?
Fosteritos is like the
Fosteritos,
entrance,
yeah.
And he drew inspiration from the arch, and he then had put an arch at Wembley Stadium.
Oh, the arch, okay, so that's interesting.
And in those days, the bridge that I mentioned in the bay and the arch of San Mames were, before the Guggenheim, were probably the main two
architectural
symbols in the city. Yes.
Oh, no, there's a banner there. What does that say? The front, they've taken this big.
Yeah, let me see.
So it's just a big Icarina they're going to take out, I think, maybe a massive one, yeah.
Justice is ours, or something like that, because of this ruling, you know, the ruling
Oh,
from
the European Court.
Yeah.
Right, okay. They love Takero. So Takero's you're hard-working, running the channels, chasing every ball, pressing really high up the pitch. So Gorka was making the point, you can play a lot further forward when Takero is playing because he presses all the defenders. It's actually a very English style to be the striker who presses very hard. It's almost like very old-fashioned, actually, I suppose, in that in the old days when your players were mainly local, the fans had more of a connection, you know?
Also in Athletic, you can tell supporters are a lot more patient with players. You know, they realise that he's a homegrown player that has just started, so he will get a few games before they start to
put pressure. And also the club won't just sell him. The game had finished 6-0, a resounding success for the Euskal Selección. I thought Xavi Prieto had a good game, but the man of the match was Aduriz, who scored a smoothly chipped goal that the Spanish would refer to as a vaselina. We were invited down through the building work to Athletic's swanky new press room to meet the coach, Mikel Echari, and Aduriz. The vaselina goal was fun to score?
Bueno, era el único hueco donde había para que pudiese entrar el balón y bueno, contento, sí, bien, ha sido un bonito gol.
In the press conference, the Peru head coach was very complimentary about the Basque national team. He said they could perform well at a World Cup if they went. Is it a dream?
Sí, la verdad que sería un sueño para todos nosotros. Bueno, a día de hoy sabemos que no es fácil, que bueno, pues que hay muchos pasos que dar, pero bueno, el poder participar con nuestra selección en partidos oficiales, pues es algo que a día de hoy pues es un sueño y ojalá algún día lo podamos ver.
Thank you. I could see in Aduriz's eyes the pride of playing for the Euskal Selección and the hunger he shared with his fellow Basques to be officially recognised. He could even have been one of the kids in Casco Viejo earlier today. After the game, we said goodbye to Gorka over some beers and late-night pinchos, the Basque country's ubiquitous tapas. Athletic are in danger of becoming a victim of their own success, whereby the more talented a team they create, the more likely it is to be split up. Like Ajax, Porto, and in baseball, the Oakland Athletics. The next morning, we met with a young fan called David Esteban, who met us at his favourite hall. Athletic were the backbone of the Euskal Seleccioner, and we wanted to find out more about the connection between the two. So here we are on another rainy day in Bilbao, and we're in Covent Garden. So not Covent Garden in London, we're in Covent Garden in Bilbao in this amazing Athletic fan bar with David Esteban. So David, how long have you been a fan of Athletic?
I have been a fan since I was 3 years old, when my father first time goes with me to San Mames, to old San Mames Stadium.
Is the Cantera element of Athletic? Is it the most important part of the club?
Here the Cantera is our pride. It is important that a player is Basque or has developed its football career in the Basque country. We love players that are like us, that can live in the next street from we live.
There was a player we were interested in, Ramalao. I think his father is Angolan,
yes,
and his mother is from
yes,
Bilbao. So is the kind of Basque thing, is it colorblind? Does it matter? Is he Basque to you, to the fans?
For us it is not important the race.
Yeah.
We love to play with players from here, but we can also play with players that develop its football career here.
So is this the big rivalry with the Madrid teams?
Yes. When Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid fans come to Bilbao, because there are always problems.
Can you tell us about the badge? Because we have the tree. Is the tree the Guernica? Is it?
Of course, colors.
Yep.
City. But our name is Athletic Club, not Bilbao in the name.
Yeah.
Bilbao is in
We make this mistake and we're told off very early.
Yes. No Atletico,
Athletic,
no Bilbao.
Which is
Athletic.
English actually.
Yes, it is English.
Yeah.
Yes, in the old times it was banned here all English words, and we were forced to. Yes.
Okay. So this is important to go back to being Athletic.
Yes.
Even though it's not a Basque word, it's an English word.
Yes.
Because okay.
But Athletic is a mixture of Basque and English. As I have said, most of our traditions come from English.
Yesterday at the match, in the press conference, we spoke to Aduriz. He said the Basque national team is very high level, and he said if they went to the World Cup, they would do well. Is this something that you would like to happen?
Yes, I think that it is a very beautiful objective to see Basque national team, especially Selección, playing in World Cup, or I think that it is a good future.
When we were yesterday in the Casca Viejo, I was told off for saying gracias. I said you have to speak in Euskera. In 2014, as a young Basque person, as a young Athletic fan, is to speak in Euskera common?
Yes, it is common. In the case of Euskera, young people, I think about 90% of the young people knows Euskera, more in Vizcaya and Gipuzkoa than in Álava, as an example, or in Navarra.
And is Athletic a kind of a big symbol of when it was not legal, not allowed to maybe show your Basque?
Any symbols of the Basque country is also an athletic symbol. For example, Bielsa wanted our players to speak in Euskera between them, because it is also a kind of distraction. Yes,
secret language.
Yes.
And you were saying about Athletic that the anthem of the club is in Euskera?
Yes.
And it was not legal at that time to speak or to sing in Euskera. So in the stadium, this is a protest?
It's more we are Basque, that we play with Basque players, and no one is going to come here to tell us what should we do. Everybody that supports Athletic should do everything he can to make more people love Athletic or to support Athletic, not only in the pitch, but also in the street.
David's fervent support reflected the general consensus amongst Athletic fans. It was wrapped up in old feelings left over from the Civil War, when Franco's dictatorship came to dominate the region and denied the Basque country its status and identity. We'd reached the end of our time in Bilbao, despite feeling as though we had more to explore. To me, the Basque country doesn't feel like a part of Spain. We've seen that Athletic fans are some of the most passionate in Europe. They're one of the oldest clubs in Spain, proud of being the most successful cup team, and having never been relegated. They have made a success of a restrictive philosophy. These These fans fill the new San Mames to watch talented Basque players now, just as they did 100 years ago in the old stadium. The Basques have a different way of doing things, from their football team to their language. As a Bilbao native might say, Gora Aldea, or as a French Basque might say, Vive la différence.